Square, and I can tell you the kind of conversation that's been happening here while the commercial break is going on is something else. The SMSs also keep coming in. 22422 is our SMS line. The hashtag is Daybreak. Let me read a couple of SMSs. Mutiso Muli from California. Wow, that's where we're being watched from. Says, I have heard the statement, Mungu amechagua fulani. Sauti ya wengi ni Mungu. Many times. I ask myself, what is the difference between rigging elections, stealing, and corruption? Okay, that's an interesting one. Someone else here, you don't give us your name, but say the president's address to the nation left out a lot of burning issues. The president should drop the 4 agenda. They are not going to happen in his tenure. He should concentrate on corruption alone, and that would secure his legacy. But Odoyo Freddy from Rongo has a different opinion. Good morning, Social Square. I think we as Kenyans should also understand that there are a lot of expectations on the president. At the same time, he cannot fulfill all of them at the same time. To me, I think he's trying his best. As youth should also be creative, find our own ways of living, to sitegemee serikali to the fullest, because we are corrupt even ourselves, even as we talk about our leaders. Okay, let's get some reactions to those SMSs and some thoughts as well. I'll start from this side. You have the mic. Go ahead and start with your name, please.
My name is Martin Mwenda. I'm a lawyer. Maybe just to react to the person saying that...
Do you mind moving the mic just a bit closer to your mouth? Go ahead.
Okay. Is that okay?
Okay, I believe that's okay. Go ahead.
In reaction to the person who is saying that leaders are chosen by God, I think that's...
Okay, sorry to put you on hold. The mic seems to have a problem. Just hang on, someone's coming to check on that. Let's get a reaction, some feedback from this side. Whoever has, go ahead, give us your name and your comment.
I'm Grace Gitao from Platinum Credit. I work in sales executive there. So me, I can say this: when we have when there's corruption and employment, those things have a bond. Like unemployment.
So they're hand in hand.
Yes, they're hand in hand. You find that someone can tell you, anaweza kuambia nipe that K nikuingishe kwa hii job. Like I want that job. You see? Where can I get that K?
How rampant is that? You know, for people who are watching who got employed many years ago, how many times do young people get asked, pay us? Okay, the lady behind you is really nodding her head. Yes. How many times do young people get asked that?
A lot of times. I can say that. But as for me, it has been like 3 times. 3 times
so far?
Yeah.
That you've been asked for money for you to start earning?
Yes.
And where are you supposed to get the money from?
I don't know. I'm looking for the job to get the money. Like, where can I get that money from?
Okay.
Surely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're just about sorting the mic on this other hand, but Rima, come in. You hear what young people are saying. Is there hope?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, I like that, okay.
There has to be. There has to be, because why do we wake up every day? But I do want to say that there are youth who are organizing. Yesterday I spent about 3 hours coming with recommendations for the president with other youth groups.
Where were you going to take them
So we're there to the president and Raila Odinga. We're talking about the BBI task force.
Okay.
As much as they did not include youth in the committee, we're saying you failed to do that. This is what youth need in that agenda, and this is what we're proposing to you. So there are youth who are proactive. But I want to say that when we look at problems as a mountain, we're going to feel defeated. To climb a mountain, you have to take step by step. Huh? And so I would say that when we talk about even our leaders, MCAs, when they do not perform, do they come back? They are never voted in. In fact, MCAs have the highest turnover rate. So it means that people are watching. They're saying, by the way, huyu haleti kitu. So if they're not going to bring any development, tumtoe, tujaribu ingine. So I would say that we need to look at the representatives in our counties, in our wards, and that shows you that Kenyans want to see change within their communities. If we look at the presidency, we will feel defeated. But if we can see the changes, there's a lot happening in the county. Right now, even Busia, Kericho, we just helped youth, the Kericho Youth Network, submit a youth entrepreneurship policy. We did. So there are youth who are working. It's just that it's not shown in media. But they are working. There are people who want a better country. There are people who are intelligent. And they're coming together to do that. So for me, it's whenever we show how youth are lazy, they're always taking shortcuts, they're always complaining, they don't care. I don't think that's what youth are. In fact, for them to talk about entrepreneurship is unfair, because not all of us are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So if we're being told now go and create your own employment, that's unfair. I think we're the only country that's telling their young people, go create your employment, and the person telling you is employed. The person telling you is employed. So
Okay.
what is that?
What is that? Okay, let's bring in the lawyer now. I believe your mic should be fine. Go ahead. Maybe introduce yourself afresh.
My name is Martin Mwenda. I'm a lawyer. From yesterday's president's speech to the nation, I think I took away two things in terms of youth in this country. First, we are dealing with the issue of curriculum. You don't expect the youth of this country to change this country or become anything better if at all we're still using the 844 system which we got from our colonialists. We don't expect your master to write something good that can help you in future. So we are using the system, the 844 system, which out here there are so many graduates that have all the degrees from all the universities, but they are going through the roughest of times that anyone can say. Why? Because this education system, curriculum, does not equip us well to handle things out there. For instance, the government is telling us to create employment, but the curriculum the government gave us when we were in school did not teach us to come out here.
There was no course called Creating Employment 101.
Yes.
Or class 1.
And then secondly, we have. I heard the president saying that they will put more money in terms of the new curriculum reform that is coming. That is set to be established by the Ministry of Education.
Okay.
The other thing is corruption.
Okay, briefly, please.
Yes, and on corruption, we as a country have made corruption part of our values. Article 10 of the Constitution talks about the national values, which the President was speaking about yesterday. And those national values, we have become as if by default corruption is part of us. That's why it's not even news every day when you hear this has been stolen or that has been stolen here and there.
Okay. Yeah. It's taken the place of what should have been our national values. Yeah. This is your sense. Okay, let's get a sentiment from this side. Go ahead, give us your name as you begin.
My name is Dwayne. I'm an entrepreneur. From what I'm hearing is that we're being fed blanket philosophies that are from a history book yet to come. And what
Sorry, say that again.
We're being fed blanket philosophies from a history book yet to come. Because from what I see, it's like the government at the moment is working its last mile now. They're not putting any effort. They're trying to get to the finish line because, well, we're halfway there. There's no point in looking silly, quitting right now. Let's show something that can at least get us to the finish line so that we're on the table. We get a participation medal. And that is not really helping because we need to, as a country, track back our footsteps and look at where the change needs to begin. The change can never begin at the top. It will begin at the bottom. You want people to create employment. Start teaching kids how to create employment. Stop telling kids go out, look for jobs. Because what happens is, a majority time, people are told, you finish school, you go to uni, finish uni, get a job. No one is ever told, you go blue collar. Because you do that, your parents disown you. So that is what we need to start looking at and focusing on more and more. And then also the issue of corruption as well, tied in with that.
Tied in with that as well. Okay, let me get one more from this side. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning. My name is Delight. I'm from Taveta, currently in Nairobi. So just to emphasize on what he said, I think for the youth, we are going through a lot of pressure right now. We went to school, but we are out here. We're going to, maybe you're out of school, you're out of college, out of university, you've gone for your job interview. But the interview you've gone for, they already know who they're going to employ. Mm-hmm. So you're just there. You're waiting to be employed, but again, you're told, I'm sorry, this is not for you. That's really frustrating. And for now, the youth that are in the current youth we have right now, so many youth are going through bipolar. People are
depression of sorts.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Depression. People are because you want to impress your parents back at home. You don't want to look like a failure, and they knew where you're coming from. You've gone for an interview, so you stay. Let's say, for instance, let's say you stay back in Nairobi. You don't know what you're doing. You're just here. You want to make ends meet. You have a parent who is depending on you. you have to do everything. So you also get into corruption. You do things you don't want to do, not because you want to, but because you have to. Because this is the life you have now, and you have to survive.
And you have to survive.
Yeah.
Okay. Before I get some thoughts from my panel, let me read some SMSs. Someone saying here, clarification, just clarifying that the 844 was from Moi era, not colonialists. I think, I don't know if that came out in something that somebody said. Ongweko Vincent says, Prezo, take the bull by its horns through revolution. Wow, okay, ignore the constitution. I don't know what people will say about that. Get rid of corruption once and for all, and you'll be supported by Kenyans. The hope is only in a revolution initiated by the president. Okay. Isaac from Roiro, we have a very well thought out idea of Vision 2030. Uhuru should put all his energy into it, and by the time he leaves office, we should be talking of Vision 2060. This Agenda 4 is corruption itself. Okay, wow. John Gimor from Kapenguria, they say when we fight corruption, corruption fights back. What we have is a situation of a win of corruption fighting back. Ole wetu. I don't know what that means. I don't know if anyone else. Is that Sheng or something? Nimeanza kuzeeka. Nixon Dugira is back again. There should be introduction of a course right from primary level to our colleges. Call it anti-corruptionology. And that should be introduced in schools as well. I don't know if any of you would study that. Narima has brought up something interesting. Despite everything that is happening nationally that would seem like a very bad situation at at a glance, people are doing stuff in their individual spaces. Vivian, Nameless, what are you guys seeing out there that individuals are doing that you think at least here there's some hope? And Vivian, I could start with you. If you are seeing.
Well, there's always someone doing something different and something that sheds a bit of light in the society. However, for me, the biggest challenge that I feel we have as a country starts in the mindset. There's someone who mentioned kanisa ndio sasa uko ndio corruption kwanza ndio inakorogwa na ile kijiko kubwa. Mutukanio, But at the end of it all, I think we sort of like have to shift. Saa zingine ukipata ukiangukia pesa unasema ni Mungu amekusaidia. There are some things that God does not endorse, right? And we have to refuse. Let's stop using God to defend our callousness and all our bad behaviors, right? And it's the same thing that happens with the poverty mentality. We need to just shift what he's saying. Like, it needs to be a whole paradigm shift. Exactly. That way, even when you're going to vote, you'll know, Mimi, I don't have a poverty mentality, I have a power mentality. And when you have a power mentality, what you do and how you behave is completely different. You don't say, Mungu ndio amefanya nipate easy million and it's just corrupt money. No, and sometimes, I'm not saying God is good, but then we have to be definitive with the way we use God for some of our bad things that we do here. And he mentioned yesterday, the president talked about personal conduct. And some of these things are like, that's the core, personal conduct. We need to be aware, we need to be practical. Let's stop using God to blindfold the practicability of things. Unajua ni kama uko na 5 bob uko na 5 bob. Kama uko na unajua hakuna, it has to be practical.
Gray line or
exactly,
gray area there.
Exactly.
You have you have it.
Exactly. And we need to stop that, like living in a dream fantasy that unajua Mungu ndio hata. God even helps the people who are helping themselves. Let's be practical, let's be real. Let's get out there and do the right things. And kwanza wa mtu mwenye amesema revolutionary, I really agree. You agree?
Led by the president.
We are tired.
So can the president revolt against the people he appointed?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's the worst part.
That's the worst
part. We'll probably need Nameless nasikia anafanya tour ya nini. I think
you're challenging him to start it. Okay, I think I haven't had a voice on this side and on this side as well. If you can pass the mic. Do you have a contribution? Has everybody here spoken? Say something.
Okay, my name is Amara Grace from KCA University. On the issue of, let me talk on the issue of corruption. So we've been talking about issue of corruption for like years now, and there's no action. We need action to stop that corruption. And us as youths, we need to see the leaders as our mentors. So if
what happens if that doesn't happen?
Then people are going to follow their own ways.
Okay.
we're going to take our own paths. We're not going to see them as our mentors.
And
we need them.
And you need them. What are your own paths?
Our own paths.
And are the leaders showing you the good paths? Maybe that's where we should start from, because you said you want leaders to mentor you. Are you seeing leaders now with traits that you would desire to have?
Yes, leaders have their own traits that some youths have to follow. Let's say, I really like Vivian. So and the way she has spoken, she said she's come from far. I know you've come from far. So I need to follow her steps so that I can reach her where she is right now.
And even far.
And even far.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think I haven't had someone's voice here. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
I'm Wehaki Mwangi. I'd like to say the government has failed. Our leaders have really failed us. As the youth, we are really finding ourselves in situations where we have to gamble, then we are depressed. There's so much happening. The last time when we were electing the leaders, the Jubilee government, they promised jobs, roughly 800,000 jobs, and right now there's nothing. How many jobs
you haven't
we
seen
have?
those jobs.
Yes, there's nothing. So the leaders are really failing. Again, to Nameless, you cannot really tell a leader by how he or she appears or presents himself. This is because we've seen our leaders, they come here, they'll campaign, they'll tell you, hey, once you elect me, I'm going to give you this and this and this, like the jobs. And once they get to office, they do nothing for us. So the government has failed. The Jubilee government has totally failed us.
My goodness, he's used the word failed 4 times in that statement. Okay, he had a quick comment. Make it brief, please. Go ahead.
Okay, the main thing ile tunataka kuongelea ni media. Media. Okay, kitu nataka kuongelea about media. I think media pia imeacha mambo ya vijana sana. Why? Ukiangalia program maybe kitu kama ya ile time watu wamerelax, ndio analeta politicians. Time gani maiweka mtu musician ile time kila msa ametulia, either mnaekanga saa 6 ya usiku ka kila mtu amedoze ama mapema ama unaona, but ikifika time around pale saa 1 kama saa 2 mnaetanga politicians, na watu tupea hope ni musician, because after mtu amekuwa depressed ama ile time umechoka, wewe usikiza nini? Music. Si ni music? But siku hizi time mtu amechoka, media inaleta nini? Politicians. Na sio wote wameshachagua wale upiga kelele. Unaona? Hii ndio the main thing. Juzi president alikuwa anasema huduma center, huduma number huduma number, kuna wale watu walikuwa wanafanya nini? Kuna wale watu walipatikana sijui wangapi.
Police officers. Police officers.
Si tukachia. Juu Kenya sasa tumekuwa cheering squad. Imepatika. But the main thing hatukujiuliza, walijieka hapo ama kuna mtu aliwaweka? Je, president ameshika wale watu waliweka watu hapo? Ajai. So bado sisi tunangojea wale watu waliweka wa makarao hapo, acha nitumie sheng. Wale watu waliweka hapo, sisi tunangojea president awashike. But jana tulikuwa tunangojea president avute watu pale.
That was your expectation.
Sikuwa na expect vitu mingi. Nilikuwa nangoja because because yeye ndiye aliwaandika. Hakuna cha kufuata mambo yao kotini nini na nini. Because akisema leo ni huyu ni huyu. But jana bado tulikuwa namsikiza tu ile kawaida vanakwanga na pressure. So sisi tumezoea. So president kitu ajue
kwa ufupi tafadhali.
Sisi tumezoea aongee, but sisi tunataka action.
Thank you. Tunataka action. Sorry, let's get a last final comment there.
I'm not going to repeat what he said. 2 thoughts. The first thought is this. Most of the political class that we have in this country are beneficiaries. They are beneficiary of corruption itself. So you cannot expect the same people who are beneficiaries of something to first legislate on it. So they can't pass laws that are going to take them to prison. The second thing is this: even in terms of the judiciary and the executive, people have gotten to certain positions either within the judiciary or within the executive, even if it's a cabinet secretary's job or a PS or an accountant somewhere there, through corrupt means. So you cannot expect the same people who've benefited from corruption to execute the mandate that the president has given them. So it becomes it's a losing battle for the president, and adequate what he's doing to this analogy. We have a tree that's called corruption. What he's doing currently, he's trying to convince us that he's uprooting the roots while he's just trimming the branches.
The roots still remain.
The roots are still there. If you want to get rid of a tree, you have to get rid of the roots.
Okay.
He's trimming the branches while he's trying to convince us that he's trying to uproot it, which at the end of the day is not going to benefit anybody. And I don't think, I'd like to disagree with him. He was not going to fire anybody yesterday because of what happened in 2015. I don't think that's the route he was going to take. But I think it is honest, it's only fair to say that we expected more than what we got.
Expected more than what you got.
Than what we got.
Okay, let me get one-liners from each of my panelists as we finish. Nameless, let's start with you. Summary as we wind up.
I think for me, generally the thing that comes across, and I think people need to realize, is the power is with the youth. The numbers are there. And maybe guys don't realize that the power is within them, you know. It's to decipher more in terms of selecting the right people to change this whole culture that we have, you know. So for me, that's just that encouragement. As we said, there is hope. As much as people are going through depression and all that, just keep that hope. But you can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results, you know. So something has to change, and people need to start reflecting what needs to change from what we require from the leadership, and then we might get somewhere. That's what I feel. Yeah.
All right, Vivian?
Firstly, I have to say thank you for being on this panel. I'm honored to actually have been called here. It's important to have these kinds of conversations. But just in light of what we've been talking about, I think I'll really just echo what Nameless said, because I think that's what really counts. We need to stop blindfolding ourselves and, you know, just living in like this fantasy space, and we really need to come back to the ground and say, if you were to do a self-assessment, because it's important to do one, would you say that you are actually using your space in the best way possible? It's not an easy task at all. It isn't, but it is possible, because we have seen, you know, it is better to work with solutions, because we have seen whatever we expected, because everyone here agrees that the speech that was given yesterday was way below what we all expected. So we've already identified hapo tunaweza kosa kupata what we want. So where are we going to get what we want? It needs to start from the small things, like Nerima was talking about. You need to assess yourself as an individual in your small groups, in your small communities. You know, just try and find solutions there first, and then we build it up. That's the only slice of hope we have at this moment.
That's the only hope we have at this moment. Nerima, you are the fortunate one with the last word. What do you want to leave Kenyans with?
I mean, I totally agree, and I'm grateful for conversations like this, especially with young people. But I also think that we don't know that access to employment is part of our constitution as young people. It's a right.
It's a right.
So our government clearly
not a favor.
is denying our right. Yeah. So I think also for us to know what exists within our constitution, and it's unfortunate it's not even taught, but also to realize that there are little things in our communities, you know, just what Vivian was saying, that we can change. And they don't have to be so complex, just being involved. So having these conversations is important to start with. And you know, we say, I don't want to be involved with politics, but guess what? Politics loves you every day in your face. So I think we're beginning to see by the way this siasa, it's coming into my life. I can't run. We cannot be in a bubble at tuna log out. We can't. And so the day that we realize that, I think we're going to see the power that we have.
How would you challenge those who are in a bubble?
Get conversating about the issues today.
Is conversating enough?
Yes, it is. Because what it does, it instigates or it starts for you to care. And once you start to care, you begin to organize instead of agonize. You begin to organize. That's what it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like the way she finished. I had no counter there. Interesting play of words, but keep talking about these issues, and I'm so grateful that I've gotten lots of SMSs. I want to read 2 SMSs before I pick up the tweets. Okay, there we go. Kenya from Kitengela. Someone remind the president of an old saying, barking dogs seldom bite. Okay. And another person, Mwalimu Ben, says, good morning. Even though a body gets disease, infections, etc. by various germs, it can survive if it develops enough antibodies to combat the infection. Let the youth become the antibodies for the diseased body that is Kenya. Use the exposure that we have now to be better than the examples we are currently experiencing. All right. Let me first thank my panel. Thank you so much for finding time to be here with us this morning, and the audience as well. And everyone who watched, let's also take a look at those tweets that will be coming up on your screen. All right. Here we go. Let's read the first one. Someone says the president's statement fell short of our expectations. We're sick and tired of unending tough talk without action. Chapter 6, step aside and clear your name first. That is at Engineer Lazaro. Chesinga K, we are not sincere at all. We are not sincere. Strangely, all opposition leaders, Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka and Mudavadi, are the ones addressing media outside parliament, explaining and defending the president's speech. Doesn't make sense, okay. Frederick Mwendwa, that was the state of politics and not state of the nation. How do you fear your subject? Our president is lacking a presidency character. Let him stand up and be seen doing something like Kibaki or Moi. All right, I think our nation is not really in a bad state. We take corruption issues lightly, but its long-term impact will really affect our country. Imagine Kenya with unemployed graduates. These youths will turn out to be the most genius con men and con women, not just locally, but globally. All right, that's how we wrap up. Lots of interesting thoughts to talk about, the state of our nation, our future as well. Lots to worry about, but I like how some of my guests here put it today. Lots to hope for as well. We take a quick break. You're watching Daybreak. Stay with us.